I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring how ethics and everyday life intersect with a terrific author. His name is Mark Holcombe, and he has penned a powerful book. It is called Critical Moral Reasoning. This engaging book challenges readers to think deeply about today's moral questions, from AI ethics to civil protest. By combining philosophy, psychology, and real-world dilemmas, the author gives readers the tools to make better, more ethical decisions in a rapidly changing world. Mark, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Logan.
It's a great pleasure. Talk to us a little bit about the inspiration to create this book and take a case-based approach rather than a purely theoretical one.
Well, I was doing work at the Center for Ethics and Values in the Sciences at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. And predominantly, I was working on the responsible conduct of research. So anyone who receives federal grant money for conducting scientific research or any type of research that's federally funded is required to be trained in the responsible conduct of research. So, and I was specifically charged with looking at how the efficacy of these training programs. And back then, what I learned is that, well, there wasn't a whole lot of empirical data on how efficacious these programs are that are federally mandated, but there was a large body of research on a case-based approach to ethics or to responsible conduct of research was significantly positively correlated with a reduction in lawsuits, medical lawsuits, misconduct reports, and things like that. And so that challenged me in thinking, why is the way that I'm teaching an applied ethics course really the best in terms of aligning with this empirical data? And I came to the view that no, it wasn't. That the majority of textbooks on the market are anthologies. A lot of the readings are 30, 50 years old. So they're heavy on theory. And so it made me rethink how I was teaching my course. And I came to the conclusion that these are 100 level students. Most of them are college freshmen, maybe college sophomores. And that what we should be doing is developing moral reasoning skills instead of, yes, you need some theory. You do need some normative theory, moral theory there too. They do need to learn that. But what we ultimately want from our students is to be able to make moral decisions. And it's a reasoning skill.
Yeah. And the real world cases really drive that home, I would think. I know as a journalist, we're taught if you talk about hunger in X percentage of the population, it's not nearly as impactful as if we profile one family that is starving. Kind of a similar approach?
Similar, yes. I also have a degree in education, and one thing we're taught there is, I have a master's in education, master's in philosophy. And so one thing we're taught in education is with no matter what the subject is, you're teaching middle school, high school kids, is to make it as relevant to their lives as possible. So using these real world cases shows that one, it's real world relevant, and two, helps link it to their actual lives and makes it more real to them personally. And so that's why I chose in the book a lot of cases that, actual college students are going to deal with or may deal with.
Give us an example of one of those real world cases from the book that illustrates moral conflict.
Well, some is like loss of a loved one, end of life decisions. A lot of college students, that's when they're starting to, like, their grandparents may be having to deal with end of life decisions. So like a big case, but then smaller cases, like sharing of streaming services, password sharing of streaming services. And as you know, streaming services are cracking down on password sharing. So, the ethical issues around streaming, sharing your streaming passwords, so a range of like these little cases like that to the big cases like end of life, to give two ranges of cases.